can go ahead and have a meeting and still go through the policies.
Okay, already.
The recording has started.
Okay. So Ms. Francine, you want to lead the meeting for us?
Okay, Housing Authority of Monterey County Policy Meeting, Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, 2:30 p.m. Are we gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Oh, no, ma'am. We can just go straight to the roll call.
Okay, roll call,
Okay, Commissioner Francine Goodwin,
Chair,
Commissioner Kathleen Ballesteros,
Present.
okay, and Commissioner Yuri Anderson is absent.
Lawrence Thompson.
knew it.
Okay, Ms. Francine, we ready for
I'm
comments?
sorry, somebody, this is what I was telling you. Nobody called me until, I'm sorry. That was one of
That's
my meetings. Okay, I'm sorry. Comments from the public? None?
Okay,
Okay, discussion, confidential, classified, and acceptable use policy.
and if you don't mind, Ms. Francine and Ms. Kathleen, these the policies we talked about before. And so you guys just told us the little tweaks that you wanted. The only one that's really new is the travel policy. So
Oh,
if
okay.
we could take all the discussion items at one time, and that way James can just go through each one of them to reflect the changes and suggestions that you made before. And then he can key in on the travel policy, which is the newer one, and then have a discussion if that works for you ladies.
That's fine for me.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go to,
We're gonna do 4A
F.
through F.
Okay, so, item F on the agenda, travel policy 905. Correct?
If you, A through F, Ms. Francine.
We're gonna do A through F. I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
A through
And
F.
James, if you would go in order and just kind of update them and talk about the stuff, and then maybe share the screen so they can see it, even though they got it, and that ought to expedite the process.
Yes, let me see.
And before I go mute, Miss Kathleen, I'm liking that lipstick. I see you over there.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay, James is supposed to do this, right?
I'm gonna pull it up on the screen so
Oh,
everyone
okay.
can follow through. Yeah. Give me 1
Yeah,
second.
he's gonna, I believe, Commissioner Goodwin, he's gonna go through each one and give up the
Right.
updated info on each
Okay, I
one.
just wanted to make sure I wasn't supposed to be talking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
he'll go through all of them.
Sorry.
Oh, Gabby, can you make me host so I can share?
So sorry.
Thank you. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So let me find the policies. So the first one that we're going to kind of go through is the confidential classified information acceptable use policy. We reformatted it for easier reading, so it's a bit cleaner and more consistent with our other policies we have inlined. We really wanted to kind of emphasize the importance of confidentiality, making sure that everyone knows the role of adaptive information systems, which is our IT partners. And we also laid out some clear guidelines on what it is and what isn't acceptable within HACM's network. And then also addressing violating any of these guidelines could result in disciplinary action. So it's crucial that we understand the following and to follow the policy. And these changes are about maintaining a secure and responsible work environment for everyone. So that's kind of the key changes for that particular policy. The next one is the exempt and non-exempt status and overtime policy. We revised the policy to align it with other policies as well, so it follows the same structure for easier reference. The main goal here is clarity. We wanted to clarify what it means to be exempt versus non-exempt employee, and we went over how overtime works because a lot of people were it was technically separated on the policies. There was two different policies that have overtime and then with the exempt and non-exempt, so I just combined them into one. The policy also shares that we're complying with Fair Labor Standards and Act and affirms our commitment to treating all employees fairly in HACM. The next one is the military leave policy. We've updated the format and expanded it to be more comprehensive. It's more crystal clear that eligible employees can take up to 30 days of paid military leave. And we've also outlined how benefits work during this time. This update also reflects our support for our team members who serve, ensuring that they can also be at peace of mind and know about their employment and benefits while working and being at HACM. And then I know that we kind of talked about this and touched base with it, especially with the Narcan one, and it's going back and forth. But this one is more consistent layout with the other policy as well. It emphasizes the training and certification for those who are authorized to administer. I know last time we had discussions about it. There were certain things where it says designated rather than authorized employees. So we kind of changed it up to make sure that it's authorized employees, and that we've also highlighted on this one particularly that it is that all employees are not mandated to participate in it if they're not comfortable doing so. The goal of this one is to also equip our staff to have the skills they need to respond to these situations safely and effectively. We hope that no one ever has to use this, but if we do have it, they're prepared to actually, act upon in case of an emergency. The paid time off policy, the PTO policy has a refresh kind of look on it as well. It's formatted more consistently, and it spells out the guidelines for vacation and sick leave and bereavement leave. It also covers time off for things like jury duty and voting. We clarified maximum accrual limits and what happens to unused PTO when someone leaves. This update is all about making sure that people understand their options, supporting work-life balance, and following all and allowing civic participation for voting. And then the last one is the travel policy. Let me just kind of scroll down here. Sorry, 1
So
second.
James, before you go into the travel policy, since all those was ones they talked about before, did you ladies have any questions or comments about them before we go to the next one?
No.
I did, Zalika. The one that I wanted to mention, and I did notice the form for the first one, the confidential, classified, and acceptable use policy. And I noticed that there's a form that the employee will sign because they're saying that they're gonna keep confidentiality in regards to their job, and especially too because of the different technology and software that they're using. So I that's what was gonna be my question, but I saw the form where the employee signs,
Mhm.
and I'm glad to see that because I know sometimes as a public employee, there's so many facets involved, and them not knowing they can say something and not realizing it's part of their job confidentiality. So I seen that form right after you had said that, and that where they sign it, so, but that was it.
Yeah, and then also to highlight to you, Commissioner, this policy might also be revised a little bit later because of
Oh.
the AI and technology. It might just have to kind of be updated periodically because of all these advanced technologies coming out. We want to make sure we're safeguarding HACM and any potential liabilities that we may come across. So just for future references.
Okay, so I have one more question, James. In
Mhm.
regards to this acceptable use policy, does that include like any technology equipment that an employee is provided with during their time of employment? Is there something also that they sign to return that equipment?
Yeah, so when we do an onboarding, everyone that gets checked out, like an iPad or a phone, has to do an equipment release sign off that they accepted it. It was a new condition or used, and then
Okay,
we log it into our system. And then when they exit or leave HACM, we actually collect it, and then we check off that they returned it, and so it goes back to inventory.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, good, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, do you ladies have any other questions about any of these?
No.
No,
Okay, thank you. James, now if you go to the travel policy.
Yes. So this one is a little bit lengthy, so give me 1 second. Let me try to scroll down. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. Yeah, so the travel policy. So on this one, we made some really significant updates to the travel policy to simplify it. We reduced it from 6 pages down to 3 pages. And we also introduced a flat $100 per DM rate for meals and incidentals. This rate is actually a medium amount that we looked at what's reflected on the GSA. So it's fair across the board. The flat rate also allows for better accounting practices. Along with that, we've clarified the rules around credit usage, lodging, mileage, reimbursement, and receipt submission. And these changes also emphasize HUD compliance, making the travel process a bit easier and more straightforward for everyone involved. That kind of like summarizes that, but reducing it from 6 to 3 is really significant because it did highlight a lot of small little details of it, such as the per diem that was kind of out that's we want to refine and make it more simple.
And then just to kind of add to that too, the old travel policy, one reason it was 6 pages, it was what time of the day are you leaving?
Yeah.
So what time are you eating? You got to share a room with somebody if you do this. It was just a lot of stuff in there. So it made it take days for Gabby to even get it processed for everybody because she had to look at the agenda, then where you coming from. And with some of the verbiage in there, that's why we always was leaving from San Jose because it really demanded that you take the cheapest flight. It's counterproductive for us to have to drive to San Jose for an hour, leave the car, then plus that take money away from our county. Anything being here, we really need to try to spend it in Monterey County because this is the county we serve. This is our population to help the economic growth. So that's why we made a lot of these changes. And then as far as the $100 per diem with the GSA, you can have over $100 a day, and sometimes you can have less. So it was like, what is the median? What is something that'll be comfortable so that one, when you go somewhere for the job, you shouldn't have to come out your pocket to travel for work, not for work related stuff. Now you want to go buy some stuff like that, that's different. But for your lodging or your meals, you should not have to spend your own money to travel for something that your job is making you do or your commitment as a board member is making you do. So by making these little simple changes, it's a much healthier policy for the agency. It's better for the employees, better for the commissioners. It still meets all of the HUD requirements. It meets all of the requirements that the auditors would have. And it's just an easier process. But if you ladies have, well, James, you was finna say something else about it. I'm sorry if I just jumped in. I just wanted to really let them know about now with this new policy, we could leave out of Monterey and stuff like that to kind of show why we felt like it needed to be changed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I fully understand, Zalika, because I did accounts payable over 20 years, and this was part of is being familiar with the policy. And all of this looks fine to me. I can't speak for Commissioner Goodwin, but I'm looking at it and it's precise.
Thank you. Ms. Francine, you got any questions about it?
No, ma'am.
James, did you have any more comments or like a closure, sir, about what you did with the policies?
no, I mean, overall, the policies that we're trying to kind of, change over, right, is to make it more straightforward. I know that there are a lot of them were kind of over detailed and, very informative back then. It was different. Times have changed. So we're trying to kind of keep all the policies current and also reflect any of the rules and regulations that are set now, currently, versus back in, when these policies were created like in 2010 or in 1995. So we're just trying to make sure we're all aligned and following the right rules and regulations that are set.
Yes.
But other than that, though, I have nothing else to add, unless there's any other additional questions from commissioners.
Okay.
Yes. I have no questions.
Neither do I.
Okay, well, we don't have a quorum, and the purpose of this is not to really have a quorum. It's just to get the comments, whether the policy committee feels like these policies are ready to go to the general board. So if you feel that these policies are ready to be presented at the board meeting, please let us know, and then we will arrange for them to either be on the board meeting on the 28th or the following, because we do have 5 of them. So maybe all of them might not be did at one time because of the other items on the meeting, so that the meeting is not too lengthy. But we do need your approval to take them to the next level.
Okay,
Consent ready, not approval, consent. So.
Commissioner Goodwin?
They seem to be, complete and,
Yeah.
and you know, the information seems to be, I was reading it before the meeting. And, it seemed to be, ready, for other eyes to see, for the board.
I agree, Zalika, that we could present it to the board.
Okay, thank you, ladies, for that. We'll start getting them ready for the board meeting and pull out other policies that we need to work on. I know right now we're doing a lot of human resource policies, but that because of really we've had a lot of litigation and stuff around employee relations, and so we want to make sure that all of the human resources is on track. We also just recently completed that HUD compliance audit, so we're waiting on that report to come back. So once that report comes back, it'll also guide us on policies that they feel like that we need to do for the agency. So we kind of waiting on that. We'll see how long it takes. That way we don't end up having to do a policy 2 or 3 times, because they'll put their comments in there. And then again, this really streamline human resources with the union and employee relations, so to cut down on litigation and confusion. So we appreciate you for letting us do human resources first before we get into the agency policies.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Francine, if you want to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, we don't have any comments?
Oh, I forgot about it. I'll be forgetting about it.
Just thank you to the staff for getting all this ready. Of course, Zalika, Gabriela, and James, thank you.
I'll, copy that. Thank you, everybody. And, okay, adjournment is, what time is it? It is 2:52. Adjournment.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a great
Thank you.
afternoon. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.